Hey, welcome to the 310 Quick Pod. My name is Kris Germain, and I am with the famous Jen McMahon. Hi, Jen.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We are at book club. Welcome to the 310 Book Club. I don't have a cup. I wish I had my cup of coffee, but
I have mine. It's tea,
yours.
but
Yours.
it's my new favorite mug.
Oh, here's my amino acids.
Ooh.
It's not quite as comfy for a book club. What are we doing? This is what we're doing. No, you tell people what we're doing. I talk all the time.
We are talking about atomic habits, and we are now on chapter 2 for those who are following along. And this is probably one of my favorite chapters so far.
Hands down. It is. Yep. This is for me. Sorry, hands down for me. Yeah, it's so. I think this is so important. I think maybe the reason why it is for us so important is just the work that we have done over the last few decades with people. A few decades for me. You're younger than me. You're so young. So you're
so kind.
Less time. But yeah, we see this resonates so deeply. This topic resonates so deeply with us. And what we are going to do is, we thought this would be helpful to people as we're going through the book. There's a chapter summary at the end. And so what we're going to do is just kind of dip into the topics inside of there. I think there's 5 of them. And we may or may not get to all of them, but man, they're worth it. So the title of the chapter is Shape Your Identity. How your habits shape your identity and vice versa. Let's just jump in. You got anything else that we need to preamble before?
No. Well, we kind of like teased this a little on the last quick pod. So people probably heard like a general rundown of this already, but I think we're going to dig into some more details here, which will make it a little more useful.
Yeah. Well, let's start. Yeah. If you're stumbling onto this is chapter 2, and we did chapter 1 before this, and we got good feedback. People are excited to have this conversation. All right, well, let's jump in. The first little topic here is the statement. There are 3 levels of change: outcome change, process change, and identity change.
We should define those because I think they're roughly self-explanatory, but I think you have to think through what they are in your life to really follow.
Great. Would you like to begin? Why don't you begin with
the first
outcome change?
Outcome change. So it's funny, as a health coach, well, and as a personal trainer too, many clients come to you with the desire for outcome change, right? They want to have 6-pack abs, or they want to lose weight, or they want to do something. Maybe they have a wedding coming up or something, and they want this outcome, and they usually want it yesterday. And so most people try to do things that will change an outcome. But what we're finding through this book, and what we've found through our experiences, is that it's a little bit, it's hard to look at it quite that way because, well, we all know that there's many like things that we do every day that get us to where we are. And so it's not quite as simple as just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, do more sit-ups or something like that and not suddenly have the abs I want. It's like a matter of changing more than that. And sometimes that's an easier way to look at it. Sometimes that is a harder way to look at it, because you're not just, I feel like I'm stepping ahead a little bit. You're not just getting 6-pack abs. You are now doing things people who have 6-pack abs would do, right? Yeah. It's like kind of the heart of what this is.
So we can flip that, like in our definitions of where we're going. Let's go the opposite. So there's 3 things inside of here. There's habits that focus on outcome, and then on the other end is habits focusing on identity Okay. And, sorry, changes that happen because of identity. So changes that happen because we're going after outcome, changes that happen because we're going after identity. And what we talk about, what James Clear is talking about, is the more potent of the two is the identity. Changes that come from identity. And we're going to break that down a little bit. And process change is the thing that happens in the middle. Like,
changing your day to day.
Yep. On both ends of outcome change and also identity change, it needs process change. Like, you have to, just to change something different has to happen. So that's the kind of thing that happens. We're trying to get the process to aim at one or the other.
Yeah.
As I'm talking with people, what I most frequently talk about is, if you are looking for six-pack abs, or if you are looking for some sort of result,
mm-hmm.
almost all the time I'm like, we can get those for you. But here's the problem. If we just tell you how to get those things, if we have the thing that is based on the goal itself, it is the most likely thing will happen is you will lose it. And so when people are looking for a challenge, and they're like, hey, in 8 weeks, I'm going to eat like this, and then I'm going to look like this. And very frequently, people can do that.
They get where they want in 8 weeks, but a year from now, they're no better off, right?
And so that's exactly right. And so what we say is, we can probably do it for you, but who cares if you've got it for a month? If you go straight back.
Or you get there and bounce.
Yes.
You sort of tag the thing and go back to where you were because you didn't actually make any lasting changes.
And then usually what I try to redirect it to is, I say, what you really want, and correct me if I'm wrong, is usually what I ask them to do, but I say, what you really want is, you want to be walking around like somebody who just looks fit all the time, where when people look at you, they're like, oh, that's Jen. She just looks like that. She's just fit. She's crazy. I can't even understand. I could never be like that. That's usually what happens when somebody is fit for so long. They identify you like that.
Yeah.
At first, it's funny. At first, when people start becoming something else, their friends will be like, "Oh, Jen's doing this crazy thing now," and they'll kind of joke and shame. And then there'll be this thing like, "Oh, are you doing the thing?" Because sometimes it gets frustrating. But when there starts to be change, then all of a sudden people are like, "Huh, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
But if there's permanent change, they see you differently. They identify you as a different thing, and they forget that you once were not this person. And all of a sudden, oh, that's just Jen. I could never be like that. Suddenly there's a
you suddenly
difference.
Have this flip. Yeah.
Yep.
So true.
It is so crazy. So there's the kind of definitions of outcome change, process change, and identity change. Should we move on to the next point as it kind of dovetails into this thing?
Yeah.
Great. That was the clunkiest segue ever.
Unless you want me to tell the smoker example. I thought that was so good.
It's coming in the next one. That's why I knew you'd want to, but I think it falls under this next thing. We did so much prep before this. I hope you're enjoying our segues. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on what you wish to become. So it's just talking about identity, and we're going to get even deeper into it.
Like the difference between wanting six-pack abs and being a person who has six-pack abs. It's like the type of person versus the actual thing.
What type of person just is all cut up, right? That type of person behaves like this. That type of person probably goes to the gym or is outside being active, right? That's just a general thing. That type of person, and then we go through these little habits that they probably do, and it equals that thing at the end. But Jen, you have a you have a good example that James Cleary uses. It's just like a dart. Everyone kind of understands it.
I loved this example. It spoke to me because he said, basically, imagine you have two ex-smokers and a person offers each of them a cigarette. And ex-smoker A says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. And ex-smoker B says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. And I think, which one of those people is more likely to get where they want to be? Yeah. And to me, that really speaks volumes, because one person thinks they're a smoker who's trying to quit, and the other person thinks they're no longer a smoker. So they've already shifted their identity. And if you know anyone who used to smoke or used to drink or whatever the thing is that they gave up, at some point you have to stop identifying as that thing. I think you look at other people as smokers, but that's not you anymore. You gave it up. So yeah, that one was a powerful example, I thought.
I think that you naturally have one. You talk about it all the time. You're probably not thinking about it right in this instance, but you talk about one all the time. You've talked about it on our quick pods in the past a couple of times. But what you get all of the time is, oh, I could never do your run club because
I am not a runner.
That's right. That's right. You actually have two inside of there. You do know what your other one is, but because I'm asking and prompting it right now, you also get all of the time. Jen, I would love to go run with you, but
you're too fast.
Oh, you have like 10 of them. What I was thinking is I'm not a morning person.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I'm not a morning person.
I mean,
why can't you do a run fit at night? I'm not a morning person. Mm-hmm. But yeah, people think the speed thing holds people back too. And I'm not even I don't consider myself.
That's right.
But people have stories they tell themselves, right?
Yep. And Jen, don't you think that that's an example of what we were just talking about? They don't even know they've not run with you.
Yeah.
But you have done a ultra marathon before. And they don't even know how to quantify that. They don't know what that is. They don't even know what speed that is or whatever, but you have a run documentary about you. You have, or at least that, you know what I mean? But they see you, they identify you as something else. And so they have trouble because it conflicts with their own identity.
Yeah.
And so it keeps them from being part of the thing sometimes because they just don't identify themselves that they don't like to run, can't get up early, and think that you are too fast.
I'm sure, and I think we all have this, right? I know I have my own versions of this all the time. Like I've sort of been in the process of writing a book for years, but I think I struggle to identify myself as a writer. And so I can have my own issues with picking up a pen or getting the computer out and starting. And it's definitely something I think everyone could probably have an example of in their life.
Yep. I've got a few for sure. I've got I have some deep ones that I'm working on, some that are so lifelong with me. And one that I'm working on all the time is organization. That is not a natural thing for me, or at least I have such a long history of not demonstrating organization that my identification is, I'm not organized like that. So small moves in that direction, like a bullet journal, which I've been doing for over a year, so that I can have to-do lists and organized thoughts and stuff, was incredible. We're going to have to do a whole episode on me finding out the epiphany of a bullet journal and how it matched with how I see myself.
Yeah, that was a perfect identity example, actually. Right. The artistic thing.
Yeah, I kind of fancy myself as more artistic. I walk around in life Yeah.
That was planned.
This
might be the next segue.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Okay. And we're back. Thanks so much. I hope you purchased that Swami. I don't know what that is. Sorry, I'm putting that now. Okay. Hey, people, put your phones on airplane mode, for goodness sake.
This is book club. What were you
thinking?
Yeah,
I know. So back to the example. I was like, I have a lot of trouble with a dated calendar. And I'm like, because I don't do it all the time, and I'm wasting all these pages, and I hated it. And then I find this way of organizing thoughts and to-do that was what they described as nonlinear. And then I was like, I want to hear more about that. And they were like, if you tend to have Post-it notes everywhere, I was like, I'm listening. Yes, I'm listening. You said what? But the non-linear type of organization where it can be flexible and even artistic blew me away. I thought it was like a gift from God. I'm like, somebody like me can be organized in a way that fits inside of me. I don't have to sell my soul, is what I think, of course. So that is an example for me of just something that I'm using that I didn't know if I could do it, but it has been such a help to me. And pursuing organization is part of this thing. Anything else inside of that?
Nope. I think that's good.
This next thing is so fun. I love the language of this. Next point is your identity emerges out of your habits. Every action is a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
Yeah,
that's
this
so
one
cool.
is really good.
The language of casting a vote for the type of person that you would like to become is so cool. And I think for me, it was so powerful because what he says in this chapter is you don't have to win. You know, an election is not won with 100% of the votes. You just have to win a majority of the time, you know? And so each time, he says, each time you do a habit that is in line with the person that you want to become, that identity, each time I take this thing out and I create a thing to do and I put a little box next to it. When I do that thing and I check that box, it's a small vote in the organized Kris Germain.
Yeah, I love that, especially when it comes to nutrition. I think a lot of people have lived for years and years in a diet mentality, which is like this on or off, right? I'm either on the thing or I'm off the thing. And it's this like black and white mentality. And I'm sure we've all had this experience, but like, you're doing so well, you're eating so great. And then all of a sudden, you know, the birthday party, the happy hour, whatever the thing is, pops up on the calendar and it feels like, oh, forget it. I can't do this anyway, so I might as well give up. And people throw in the towel and they think like the whole thing's over, rather than putting like I love the idea of votes too, because you're thinking, well, if you are, for the most part, doing the thing you said you were going to do, then that one piece of cake at the birthday party isn't going to make that big of a difference.
Yeah.
But now if you take that cake and let it spiral you into becoming the other person that you were, or the person you don't want to be, or whatever, then you might as well, like, then you're casting more votes the other way, right?
Yeah.
So I think it helps people think outside of this like perfection that they think they have to achieve.
While you were talking about that inside of the diet realm, another thing that we talk a lot about is the scale. The scale is a result goal that is treacherous for so many people. And yet, we also know that the scale is a metric and a tool that can be very potent and powerful. So, if I overeat, like I did when I watched that football game last night, if I overeat, and the scale is my measurement of you know, if I'm,
Progress.
yeah, if progress or who I am,
Yeah.
in this portion, then I can't do that. You know what I mean? Then it's going to be devastating to me. And then I've got to do all this work, the burden of doing the work to get that scale to say the same thing. But if I realize that, oh, it is morning and I am signed up for Jen's noon class and I'm going to go to noon class, and I have already this morning had a protein shake. I'm starting to get amino acids in, or and I'm doing things that identify with the kind of athletic person or the disciplined person that I want to be, that goes towards the person that I want to be. And that allows me to, I had a great time with my friends. But if I got on the scale and it was about the scale this morning, then I'd probably be in trouble. I'd be like, "Buh."
Yeah. For sure.
No, you for sure. Okay. The votes. Casting votes for the person that you want to become. I love it. Next one is, becoming the best version of yourself requires you continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. And this one is interesting, and I think it's really valuable. We haven't talked about it at all, but do you have any thoughts on that, or when you read it or when you were listening to it, did that resonate with you in any way?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I mean, it goes along with what we've been talking about already to some degree, but I think there's this, it changes over time. You kind of convincing yourself or proving to yourself that you can be this person that you want to be, or, yeah, sort of, it starts to show up in your life more.
Yeah.
How about you?
Let's see. So there's many directions that I could go, and I want to try to make sure I stay on this point to try to expound on it. But editing your beliefs. If you're like, I am a gym guy and I do it like this, then I would not have found different methods. If I say, I am a CrossFit guy and I do things like this, or if we said that in our gym, we probably would not have been like, let's do RunFit 310. You know, I probably wouldn't be rucking right now with Palo and totally loving it, by the way. But one thing that really popped up to me inside of this, and it's an edit of the belief. Early on, when I started getting involved with CrossFit, and then we started moving that way, it was very attractive to me that we were learning to do hard things. That is absolutely something. Like we plant a flag that says we learn to do hard things. And everybody who comes in learns wherever they are. And we kind of pride ourselves in being a good coach for the person. And we don't teach people how to learn to do hard things by throwing everybody into the same deep end. We say, where are you? And we start with where they are right there.
Yeah.
But that morphed into, for a long time for everybody, well, I go to a gym and I do a CrossFit class, and there's barbells like this, and we run and we jump on the rings, we jump on the pull-up bar. But when COVID hit, there needed to be an edit on that. And I think something that was really great about it is the edit on I'm a type of person that can do hard things needed a spin. It's not like I'm the type of person that can do hard things in the gym when it is called a WOD and it's got a run and a box jump and that stuff. Yep, we can do that. But I remember talking to the gym and saying, hey, this is what we do. we're going to use the hallway, or you're going to be at home and you're going to have a dumbbell, and we can get you great workouts. We can do hard things, and we can go through this. We can go through this period of time and take the grit that we've learned and kind of push the envelope and edit, how we framed it before and make it go farther out. So for me, that's been potent. And Paolo wrote me this, email immediately, when I sent out an email to everybody, and he responded with his identity, how he loved the hallway. Oh, we can't use the gym, no problem. I love the hallway. That's a promotion, he says, because doing it outside there on the cement and the junk out there, and you might put your hand, what he said, a nail or something like that. We don't have any nails, but anyway, but
You're
it was so great.
Over the fan, and the cars are coming.
But it was great, and we grabbed onto that, and that was an edit for us, and it was true. It was something that was true that needed to be edited, and sure enough, we could do that. So
the language he uses in the book really makes me think of another book, maybe the next book club. But have you ever read the book Mindset?
I have not. I have heard of it.
It is cool. And it is all about what he's talking about here, which is basically this concept of a lot of people have a fixed mindset about what they are or who they are or what they can and they cannot do.
Yes.
It shows up often with math, and it shows up often with sleep. I'm a bad sleeper. I'm bad at math. I can't do this and I can't do that. And you had used the can't word earlier and edited yourself, but it's cool because what they train you in that book is to use the word yet, like I am not good at math yet, or things like that. And just that one word change makes you realize that you can change that thing versus thinking that you fall in this category. This happens with a lot of my clients and I about, like, are you a good sleeper or not? And what you said earlier about being a morning person. It's like, I think people say these things as if they are concrete. They cannot be edited, like you're saying. But if you were to actually want to be a morning person or have the need to do something early in the morning, if you continually every day tell yourself you're not a morning person, you are going to struggle with that. Change is going to be very hard. Same with the people who lie in bed at night and wonder why they can't sleep because they're a bad sleeper and they don't, I think to myself, well, I get that you have evidence that shows that sleeping isn't easy. But I think if you think like I'm not a good sleeper yet, you have this belief that you could change it. And that all of the things that happened before today are not also the future. You can make changes to make this different in your life. So that's so cool though.
That is right on. I mean, that is so deep in our coaching culture. That is so deep. And for me and you, we talk about it a lot. Every area of my life is involved with that. I've got a faith corner of my life that is involved with change and becoming something. I've got a family corner of my life that is involved in change. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better dad. And it would be awful if I didn't think that I could improve on that slowly over time. There is a recovery portion in my life that has that. There is a work portion in my life that has that. And so, oh my goodness, we're steeped inside of that mindset for sure. So I love that you brought that up. Okay, there is one last thing inside of here. We'll touch on it. The real reason habits matter is not because they can get you better results, although they can do that, but because they can change your beliefs about yourself. And I've got this. I got to read this quote. This quote is so good. He says this. He says, I better read a small paragraph. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Just what we were talking about. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. This is one reason why meaningful change does not require radical change. Small habits can make a meaningful difference by providing evidence of a new identity. And if a change is meaningful, it actually is big. That's the paradox of making small improvements. So good.
Mind shattering. That's so good.
The screen just goes black.
So good. Mic drop right there.
Yep. But that's it. The paradox of doing something small, if it's meaningful, it is big. Even a small thing, if it's meaningful change, it's pointing towards something meaningful, the small thing is big. And people do not want to hear that. Like, that's our biggest obstacle.
It's patience.
People, yeah.
People want it yesterday. It's patience. It's consistency.
Yeah.
It might be small, but it has to be done, for a while. Like, you got to do the thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. We'll have to give, maybe we'll see if we can trick Christina Oaf to come on here. She is such a great example of this identity change. She does things inside of the gym, inside of CrossFit, and during this time that I've known her for such a long time, and she just wasn't like this before.
Yeah, the girl who doesn't like to work out, right? This is the...
Yeah, that's it. Oh man! And when she first came,
doesn't work out.
When she first came, she'd be running, and she'd be like, "Oh, if only we could just do long runs and talk the whole time," But she just focused on showing up, and then she would just do the best she can, and she would be coached, and she was humble in the way that she received coaching and understood scaling, and it was time. It was time, and she became this whole other thing that people really envy her for a number of things, like a strict pull-up or the way that she can move a barbell or her kipping pull-ups It's
cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So, well, we don't need to have her on. We just did it. No, I'm just joking.
We said all this stuff.
We told her, we said everything. One thing before we bring this thing in for a landing, 2 simple steps. Two-step process, he says in this chapter. The first step is to decide the type of person you want to be. And the second is prove it to yourself with small wins. Those are really short sentences, but they're really potent. It is possible that you might not know that you're like, I think I have an idea of what, but you haven't been working inside of this language. So language that seems natural to us because we've been talking about it for a while, you may be like, I don't know. But I would encourage anybody watching or listening to this to start to think about, there is something, I'm sure that you've got one thing you're like, I want to be this type of person, and find one thing. What is that thing? If on this simple level, if I want to be an organized person, today I will find at least one thing that will reflect what an organized person will do. So I'm going to open up that book, and I'm going to look at what I've written down in there, and I'm going to accomplish a task or organize more tasks inside of there. It's the smallest little thing, and it'll take a couple of minutes. But if I keep doing that, it will yield not only the work that comes from doing the tasks, but I start to believe that I am more organized. And I do believe that I am more organized than I was. I am not yet the organized man that I want to become, but I'm getting some evidence. So that is the encouragement out there. Jen, do you have anything for yourself or other peeps listening?
I guess one last thing I would add to maybe his 2-step plan would be if you could start to also identify where you're holding yourself back too, by what language are you using around like not being an organized person, or being someone who can't sleep, or, you know, if you can catch yourself in some of that language, you can start to shift the way you see that. And it doesn't mean lie to yourself. It doesn't mean I have to now totally consider myself a writer. But if I could stop myself from continuing that same story, I think it's one step in the direction of adding just another little habit, you know, on that list of habits that will help me become the writer. So yeah, I think that it's hard when you have those stories playing, you don't even really notice them. So if you could catch yourself.
It was at this moment that Koach began a slow, meandering, convoluted thought that may have only confused Jen's very valid point. Jen, of course, was patient and stoic, but this narrator felt it necessary to corral this moment and help steer the episode to a proper ending.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks, Jen McMahon.
Thanks,
that
Kris,
was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We've gotten some feedback, and some people said that this is helpful and fun, and we love it. If you want to give us feedback, and if there's something that really resonates with you and you want to come talk with us in one of the chapters, let us know. We want other people to hear what other people are doing with this. We think that this is potent. We love to talk about this. And if you are listening to Jen McMahon and you're like, that sounds great, you can get an appointment with Jen McMahon. She is a health coach. She is a trainer if you happen to be in Redondo, and she works out of CrossFit 310. If you're interested in coming around Kris Germain in our place, please get in contact with us. We'll put links down in the bottom, but we'd love to be a help to you. And even if just this recording is a help to you, love it. But if we can do more, we'd love to do that. So thank you very much. Thank you, Jen McMahon.
Thank you. That was fun.
Good time. It was fun.
Bye.
All right.